guys, welcome to 13th Planet. I'm your leader, Jason X. Today I'm going to be reviewing The Lighthouse. Now, I have been told about this movie plenty of times by some friends and family members, and I kind of been dragging on it, so I thought it was about time I go ahead and do a review. Now, I have been told that this movie has a lot of drinking in it. A lot of drinking. So I decided to make a little game out of it. It's Friday. I got nothing better to do. I'm going to go ahead and drink with them. Yeah, every time they drink, I'll be drinking with them. I'm going to start off with some beer just to, primer the stomach. And then I'm going to move over to shots. I only have 2 beers, so it's mainly going to be shots. So let's see just how much they drink during this movie, and let's see where the night takes us. It's going to be fun coming back here after to go ahead and videotape the rest of this video. So we'll see you guys soon. Alright guys, we're going to it looks like me and William Dafoe are drinking alone because my boy Robert Pattinson is not drinking right now, so cheers. Alright guys, so now we are 20 minutes in and we're going to go and drink number 2. So good, it's lips. Alright guys, so we're about 30 minutes into the movie, and this is drink number 3, so we're not drinking, William drinking together. As soon as we start drinking, Robert and William start drinking together, we'll start drinking. Protein. Oh shit! We're done. 2 beers and shot number 4. Let's get better. Let's go. Whew! What was I gonna say, guys? I didn't realize they drink so much in this movie. Here we are, shot number 5. Cheers. Good old bourbon whiskey. Done. My friends on. They don't sell your rock. Thanks. Damn. Damn. Cheers. Here we go. Fuck, I didn't count the last one, did I? Oh, but I'm counting total beers. Okay. Well, we win. Just that. Dedication. Drink. Can I have your chocolate in your face? Alright guys, near the end of the movie, looks like everything's more here, so cheers. Yeah. Here's all the juice. Brings back memories. So we start this movie with a ship out in the distance, and we find out that it's carrying our 2 main characters, Robert Pattinson and William Dafoe. Now, Robert Pattinson's character is also named Ephraim Winslow, so I will be referring to him as Winslow. And then we also have William Dafoe's character, who is Thomas Wake, so I will be referring to him as Wake. From time to time throughout this movie, you're going to realize it's hard to tell reality from fantasy. We see Winslow, who sees a floating body in the water, and he right after sees a mermaid in the water. So it's kind of hard to determine if he's dreaming, if he's going crazy. It's hard to tell fantasy from reality, which is a common theme throughout this movie, which I love. Winslow does ask Wake, what happened to your second? What happened to the guy that was here before me? And Wake ends up telling him, he's like, hey, the last guy who worked for me, he died. And Winslow says, hey, how did he die? Wake says he went crazy. He started thinking that the lighthouse was magical, and he started seeing mystical creatures in the water, and the guy went mad. He doesn't get into too much detail as to how he died, but weird. Winslow constantly is getting bothered by a seagull, and he asks Wake, why did you tell me before that it's bad luck to kill a seagull? And Wake replies, he says, hey, a seagull carries the soul of dead sailors. So Winslow's constantly getting bothered by this seagull, and Wake tells him that it's bad luck to kill a seagull. And when Winslow says, hey man, that's a myth, that's pish posh. Mistake. Wake comes right across the face and slaps the shit out of him. Completely overreacts. And you don't really know why. At least not yet. Now, as the movie progresses, you can totally tell that the isolation is starting to get to these guys. We see Winslow cranking it hard. Cranking it real hard. And the seagull's still bothering him while he's doing it. Also, throughout this movie, Wake is constantly dogging on Winslow. He says, your work ethic is terrible, you're a bad worker, and he also threatens to dock his wages. He's like, hey, if you're not gonna do your job properly, I'm not gonna pay you. Now, these guys have to stay there for 4 weeks, and it's finally the last day, and Wake says, hey, it's the last day. Winslow, have a drink with me. We have nothing to worry about. Tomorrow's the last day. What's the worst that can happen? Winslow finally gives in after all this time. He didn't have a drink with Wake, but he finally says, all right, fine, let's do it. They get completely wasted. And so while they're drinking, Winslow finally asks, he's like, hey, what's the deal with the lighthouse? Why can't I just go up there? I just want to take a look. And Wake completely gets pissed off and he walks off. He leaves. Anytime he mentions the lighthouse, he gets mad. Later on, Winslow says, hey, according to the manual, we're supposed to take turns on duties. And, I'm supposed to tend the lighthouse half the time. You're supposed to handle the duties half the time. We're supposed to take turns, but Wake, he runs this shit with an iron fist, and he runs a tight ship. He's like, hey, once again, I run the lighthouse. You do the shit work. Nobody comes for these guys. The next day they wake up, they were wasted. Winslow's like, hey, nobody came to pick us up. What happened? And Wake says, hey man, this storm is getting bad. Nobody's coming for us. I've seen cases like this in the past where nobody's come for people for a long time. They just have to wait it out. And at this point, it kind of becomes hard to tell, again, fantasy from reality. It's Wake's word versus Winslow's word, and you really can't tell where to draw the line. One person thinks one thing, Wake says, hey man, we've been here for weeks, and Winslow's like, what are you talking about? We've only been here for days. So you kind of go back and forth trying to figure out exactly what's going on. Alright, so now they've been on this rock for a while, and they're running out of food, they're running out of alcohol. And so, Wake says, hey, we gotta go get the rations. So Winslow and Wake go to dig up a whole box of rations, and what is it? More rum. Hey, this guy. I wish I knew him in college. Later on throughout the story, Winslow ends up finding Wake's first second. I know it's kind of confusing, but it's the guy who was basically Winslow before, his first second. Remember before he asked, how did your second die? And he said he went mad, he went crazy. And he finds his second in the water, but he only finds his head, and the head only has one eye, which is strange because the seagull that he finds in the beginning of the seagull that starts to harass Winslow in the beginning only had one eye. And if you remember what Wake said about seagulls, he said that the seagulls carry the souls of dead sailors. So, is that a coincidence? So at this point, Howard has completely lost his mind. He's like, I can't take this anymore, and I'm just going to go ahead and leave. He goes to get the lifeboat so that he could escape from this rock, from this island. And then here comes Wake with an axe and destroys the boat. He says, "Don't leave me." Dude, who's crazy? It's hard to tell. I can't tell who's crazy. He completely destroys the boat. And at this point, again, you're kind of playing with who's crazy, who's not. Who's the sane one and who's not. Are they both crazy? Is one sane? You really you can't tell. And then at this point, they've run out of alcohol. So what do? Alright, we have no more alcohol. Oh, let's mix honey and kerosene. Oh my god, kerosene will get us up, but the honey will make it taste good. And of course, who would have thought this makes him sick? The next day, Howard's throwing up. After they get completely annihilated off of kerosene, the same night, the same night, the storm is picking up and completely destroys their living quarters. Everything is in ruins. The next day, Howard finds Wake's journal, where Wake jots down everything about his performance. And what does he find? He finds that according to Wake, his performance is terrible, his attendance is terrible, he's abusing himself, cranking it, he's abusing himself, he's drinking on the job, even though the guy totally denied him to drink with him, and only drank on the last day. He put in the journal he's drinking on the job, and he has also agreed to dock his wages. He's like, I'm not paying this guy. You can only imagine how that makes Howard feel. So they end up getting into a fist fight, things get crazy, and they end up getting into one more fight in the end, which ends in a tragedy. We end up with Wake dead. Go figure. So Howard finally with Wake dead says, hey, this guy's gone. I'm gonna go check out the lighthouse. I want to see what's up there. I want to see why he's been hiding it. I want to see why he hasn't let me up there. I'm going to go check this out right now. So Howard makes his way up to the lighthouse, opens the little latch, climbs his way in, and finally he gets to look in the lighthouse, gets to look in the light. Woo! Everything is heavenly, right? Is it? So when Howard does finally look into the light, he ends up falling to his death. Well, he ends up screaming and then falling to his death. This movie at the end is totally up to interpretation. The way I see it, there's only two ways really that the movie could have ended. One, when he looked into the light, he started screaming. He put his hand out and started screaming. So the light was either nothing special. He ended up burning his hand and falling down all the way down the stairs and just couldn't get up after that. Or when he touched the light, maybe the light really did have something special. Maybe he saw something that blew his mind. Maybe he saw an ultimate power. Maybe it was just too much for him to handle. And again, either way, he ended up falling down the stairs to his death. This movie, I ain't mad about it. Finally, I give this movie, again, as I said before, in the spoiler-free, a 9 out of 10. I really, really enjoyed this movie. This movie had everything I could have asked for. It didn't help that I was drinking. So thank you guys so much for joining me on another movie review. I will have another movie review for you guys next week. If you guys have any questions, any comments, please feel free to contact me. Follow me on Instagram or Twitter at Jason13thPlanet, or you can follow me on Facebook at Jason13thPlanet. So if you guys did like this video, please feel free to like and subscribe. And we will see you guys next week. And thank you for joining 13th Planet, where there's a world of possibilities.